name is Noah Shorts. I use he, they pronouns. Like, I'm just really excited that we have like the first black woman that could be the president of the United States. And you know, like my wife, right? We're in a polyamorous relationship. The lover that my wife took is African American, and like I've learned so much about the struggle that people of color go through as a result of my wife's boyfriend. And so I'm excited to really do my part to show solidarity for my marginalized communities. And like the best way to do that is to get the first woman of color to be the commander-in-chief, and I'm really excited. I'm so pumped. Were you this pumped and excited when Joe Biden was the nominee? I mean, listen, like I would vote for a corpse over voting for Donald Trump because he's a disgusting fascist, white supremacist pig. But now, like, you know, we get to really make history. We have, you know, like I said, we have the first woman of color to be president of the United States. And like, you know, our country, it was founded on the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And in Kamala Harris, there's nothing embodies those values more than a Kamala Harris presidency. So I'm pumped, like I'm ready. You know, I am so excited. I'm a proud white dude for Kamala Harris, baby. Let's go. Woo!
Welcome to Unsanctioned.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president. President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Never got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally.
A new world order. These allegations are false. Weapons of mass destruction.
The USA Patriot Act.
The blueprint for large corporations.
We once were, we are no longer a Christian nation.
Donald Trump confirmed that he is considering a run in 2016.
Do it.
I am officially running for President of the United States.
He will never be President of the United States.
Donald Trump will never be elected President of the United States.
People are watching these results come in.
We are going to make this decision now. Donald Trump will be the 45th President of the United States.
Does it ever seem to you that President Trump has done more than any president in modern history?
In the 10 years I've been involved in politics, I've never seen an administration hit the ground running like this.
I could spend the rest of the hour laying out the accomplishments under the Trump presidency, despite everything thrown at him.
Market just had its 12th straight record close.
Taking action to save as many kids as they can.
We were energy independent under the Trump administration.
More Americans reported being employed than ever.
Helping those who have served our country in the military to get access to mental health care.
The Great American Outdoors Act is the largest single piece of legislation to support our national parks and public land.
Created more than 7 million good-paying jobs.
Websites can be held liable in court for having sex trafficking content.
The Abraham Accords, which for any other president would have been multiple peace prizes.
America did not enter into a foreign war.
The unemployment rate in the U.S. fell to 3.5%.
The First Step Act eases federal sentencing for nonviolent offenders.
Increased funding for historically black colleges and universities.
Allows terminally ill patients easier access to experimental drugs.
Kept the inflation rate low.
Honored with the Bipartisan Justice Award.
Had a massive MS-13 gang problem. 3.9% is the unemployment rate. Requiring airports to provide lactation rooms for breastfeeding mothers.
Middle-class family income increased nearly $6,000.
A dramatic escalation in his crackdown on illegal immigration.
An advocate for educational choice.
Tariffs on Mexico and Canada.
An act preventing animal cruelty and torture.
Taking out Baghdadi, the head of ISIS, Soleimani, the Iranian general.
Save Our Seas Act commitment to environmental issues.
We're saying Merry Christmas again.
Community development in low-income urban and rural communities.
Help us to remember the importance of fighting off tyranny.
Pulling out of UNESCO, the World Health Organization, the Paris Climate Accords, reassessing NATO and the United Nations.
Stood up for Christianity and the Constitution more than any president in American modern history.
We are stopping the attacks on Judeo-Christian values. Do you miss me yet?
We absolutely miss him.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great video that is. That's just an amazing testament to the force behind Trump. This is going to be an incredible. It already has started out to be an incredible election season where you couldn't have two wider dichotomies, right? We just saw a Kamala Harris supporter as the epitome of a Kamala Harris supporter, right? He said he wouldn't even vote for a corpse. He sounded like a corpse. That sounded like a man who's dead inside. I mean, a polyamorous relationship, surrendering his wife to some other man. That's the Democrat Party platform right there, apparently. And they want to turn your kids into those zombies. That was a white dude for Kamala Harris. What an embarrassment. And then
That's
you
a
have
cock.
yeah. Yeah, then you have a commercial like this, which shows just the power and strength of the American male in Donald Trump, in an 80-year-old man who's more virulent than whatever this guy was, right? It's just a shame they want to turn every man into an emasculated, disempowered, cuck, like you said. I mean, it's just sad. That's what they would love for to see in our country, but we're not going to let it happen. Welcome to another episode of Unsanctioned America. We're back after a very tough election season. We are ready to get the show back on track, reporting to you weekly on the biggest news. We have a whole bunch of great stuff, entertaining stuff to hear. Everybody's been talking about all of the things that we've said because it's just incredible time that we're living in. So we have a whole bunch of great news stories for you. And we're going to bring it to you on behalf of Citizen Tom Lord over here. I'm me, School Board Member John Arguello. By the way, the logos are going to be changing over the next couple of weeks, probably. And so look forward to that. The show will have like a brand new identity, revamping things. We've been making incremental changes over the last few months. But so anyways, we're going to say a quick prayer. We're going to go right down to the show. We have a ton of stuff to talk about, so let's get to it. Lord, we are eternally grateful to you every day. We are grateful to you for this country that you allowed us to be born in and take a part in its future. Right now, we know things are happening, and you made us for a time such as this, and we want to make sure that we're doing our part and make sure that that part is pleasing to you, not just for our own personal ambition, but for you and to inspire other people to become closer to you. We hope that we can do that through this show. We hope that we can get people to do their biblical responsibilities and duties. And we know that that is a matter of being obedient to you. You said that the things that be unto Caesar, and the things that belong to God, be unto God, be unto God. And we know that Caesar, that was not separating the church and state. It was establishing that Caesar belonged to God as well. So, Lord, make sure that we continue to be able to do this and make sure that you watch over us and inspire people to stand up and do the same and take part. In your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Let's get to it. What do we got?
Let's go to the news. All right, John, the big story, it just dropped the other day. This is it, John. It's happening. RFK Jr. is set to address the nation Friday in Phoenix, Arizona about his path forward. Trump also has a rally in Phoenix later that evening. Could it be? Could the deep state's worst enemies about to join forces? I don't know, John, but listen to Nicole Shanahan, who is RFK Jr.'s vice presidential candidate, and what she had to say on Fox News.
It's Bobby's decision. I came into this supporting him wholeheartedly to win this election. Mm-hmm. And I have to say there's only one party that has obstructed a fair election for us. And unfortunately, it was the Democratic Party. They've done everything they can, including creating PACs to prevent us from being able to have ballot access.
Yeah, it's interesting because you were saying that you could stay in and run the risk of Kamala Harris win, or you could walk and you could join forces with Donald Trump. When you say join forces, Nicole, what do you mean specifically?
Well, this idea of a unity party, an idea of us coming around these principles of fighting for liberty in this country, fighting for our children's health. We have the worst chronic health crisis in the world right now. Over 50% of children are diagnosed with some chronic disease. This is unconscionable.
Yeah.
And we are willing to work with anyone who is sincere in their endeavor to fix and address this issue.
Do you believe the Trump campaign and Trump himself is sincere? Do you see a home? You talk about this as being Bobby's decision. Do you see a home for RFK Jr. in the Trump administration, Health and Human Services, something to that extent?
I would fully support it. I would fully support a strong partnership dedicated to this issue. A lot of people comment that in his first term he didn't accomplish many of the things that mothers really were hoping he would do. Made some big mistakes around the pandemic. However, I think that he is sincere.
Yeah,
I do.
Well, there you go.
Well, first of all, let me address what she said. He made the mistakes. Who would not make? First of all, you can't judge somebody based on the mistakes in a global pandemic, right? I mean, the mistake was giving these guys license and giving them the leash, which they hung themselves with in terms of the medical procedures, which was blowing everybody's lungs up, right? By intubating everyone and creating a health crisis, essentially killing everybody through their treatment. Right, that's what led to so many deaths in the initial phases of COVID, and then the vaccine. Okay, so a lot of people here are like super hardcore anti-vaccine. There was a lot of people that are super hardcore vaccine. Trump was easily, he's put it in your hands. It was like, okay, you put it in your hands. You make the decision for yourself. To me, these are not mistakes. Just because you don't get what you want doesn't mean it's a mistake, right? And his presidency, and here's why I'm saying this, because at the end of the day, Trump is he's taking a step towards the center, right? That's in this approach. I'm going to bring in Bobby Kennedy. Why am I going to bring in Bobby Kennedy? Because at least Bobby Kennedy is authentic. What have I been saying from the very beginning? I've been saying, listen, I'd rather have a Democrat who is honest than a Republican who's a crook. Right?
Yeah.
And I would, because I'd rather have a debate about ideology than I'd rather have a debate to someone who is a crook or a thief. They're never going to admit that they did anything wrong. Right? We lived that situation in Osceola County. So I what we need to do is accept that we're not all going to get what we want, but at least we might be walking in the path towards an honest country again, an honest government again, a government that's not going to lie to you. And certainly, I think that is a Trump-led government. Now, this is the no nonsense, the no negotiation point for me, for John Arguello individual. If you get up there and you don't get rid of the swamp, then you lose me forever. Because that's my number one concern. No more government that is existing just for the government's sake and for the sake of building careers. No more school districts that exist to serve the careers of bureaucrats. Now we need to have institutions that are there to serve the people of the United States, and that's what we need to look for.
No, I agree 100%. I have no problem with RFK getting involved in the Trump administration or being a part of it. If he's there for health and human services or something of that nature, because I think he's right on track when it comes to those things.
Yeah.
And to see that they're gracious and they can acknowledge the fact that as the Democrat Party that's holding them back, putting them down, keeping them from trying to even get involved in the process of running for president. They're coming out, they're saying it, they're admitting it. They're saying the same things that we've all been saying for a while now, which is they're the ones obstructing things, not the Republicans. So,
well, and I think that's on the national level. It's the Democrat Party that is destroying these that's destroying these elections, right? And then on the local level, at least here where we live, it's both parties that are doing that. So we really need to introspect at this point, and every person needs to be honest. What is it that you want for the future of this country? And if we can let's begin with a country that is honest and serving its people before we start talking about ideas about the system itself, we need to agree that at the very least, whatever we choose needs to be completely honest, right? And then secondarily, that the people are in control of it, right? Not some crazy bureaucrat. And if we can agree on those two things, then, I'm glad that he's coming on board.
Yeah, and that just goes to show, what kind of man Trump is. He likes to hear different opinions. He likes to hear different ideas, and just like with Elon, bringing Elon on board. So we'll see what happens on Friday. Be an interesting day.
Yeah,
all right.
And if you're looking for a fight, then Trump is obviously the guy you're looking for, right? But if you're looking to hold an olive branch, then Trump is also the guy you're looking for.
Absolutely. All right, John. So this was an interesting story that came up. The former Secret Service chief, Cheatle there, wanted to destroy the cocaine evidence that was found at the White House. And if you don't remember the cocaine that was found at the White House, there it is. Multiple heated confrontations and disagreements over how best to handle the cocaine ensued after a Secret Service's uniformed division officer found the bag on July 2nd of 2023, a quiet Sunday while President Biden and his family were at Camp David in Maryland. At least one uniformed division officer was initially assigned to investigate the cocaine incident, but after he told his supervisors, including Cheatle and acting Secret Service Director Ron Rowe, who was deputy director at the time, that he wanted to follow a certain crime scene investigative protocol, he was taken off the case, according to a source within the Secret Service community familiar with the circumstances of his removal. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi denied that Cheatle or Rowe or anyone in Secret Service leadership asked for the cocaine evidence to be destroyed. Guglielmi, however, ignored a detailed set of questions asking if an agent or officer had been removed from the investigation and whether anyone has been retaliated against for rejecting leadership's orders or requests during that process or afterward. So it looks like Cheatle was very corrupt all along. All the way back in 2023, we had problems with Cheatle. They're coming to light now, but thankfully she's already gone. She resigned.
What a joke this is. I mean, she should be put in jail. Essentially, that's obstruction of justice, destroying evidence, tampering with evidence. I mean, it's horrendous that this person had any kind of role in law enforcement. And she herself should be under investigation right now, and I hope that she goes to jail. Especially, I mean, if this is so blatant, if she's not the dumbest person, right, the dumbest cop on the planet, she's got to be the most corrupt cop on the planet.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Now that James is gone.
Yeah. Well, John, this next story, it's a rare and powerful clip of Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch. And he was commenting on Biden's proposed reforms of the Supreme Court. Here it is.
But first, Shannon sat down with Justice Neil Gorsuch at the Supreme Court and has his response to President Biden's proposed reforms.
You are not in a bubble here at the courts. There are real-world events happening. The president has proposed now changes to the court, supported, it appears, by Vice President, who looks like she's going to be the Democratic nominee. How does the court feel about potential changes, term limits, ethics codes that are enforced by someone in ways that it isn't now?
Shannon, you're not going to be surprised that I'm not going to get into what is now a political issue during a presidential election year. I don't think that would be helpful. I have one thought to add. It is that the independent judiciary means, what does it mean to you as an American? It means that when you're unpopular, you can get a fair hearing under the law and under the Constitution. If you're in the majority, you don't need judges and juries to hear you and protect your rights. You're popular. It's there for the moments when the spotlight's on you, when the government's coming after you. And don't you want a ferociously independent judge and a jury of your peers to make those decisions? Isn't that your right as an American? And so I just say, be careful.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Be careful, right? I mean, you don't want the Democrats politicizing the Supreme Court it's such a slippery slope, and it's one that we would very doubtedly recover from.
Yeah. And this is just all coming out of the fact that they don't like the decisions that the Supreme Court's making right now. So
right.
This is a gotcha. We're gonna get you now. You're not doing as we like. So here, we're gonna get you.
The problem is, it's not even that this is cyclical. The problem is that the government was designed to be a slow moving vehicle, right? Now they're trying to create a slip and slide kind of government, just goes uncontrollably in one direction or the other. And that's what leads, those kinds of things lead to civil wars and instability. And that's clearly not what the United States or the citizens of the United States would tolerate.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, John. So Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin has issued an executive order to require all votes for the upcoming November election be cast with a paper ballot. And here's what he had to say about this.
Elections. Well, Sean, call me crazy, but I think American elections should be decided by American citizens, and Virginia elections should be decided by Virginians. And that's why this executive order is so important, because it does make sure that we have clean voter rolls. It makes sure that votes are counted accurately, and it recognizes the fact that elections need to be trusted by voters. And that's exactly what we're doing in Virginia. I mean, this is going to be the most important election of our lifetime. We're going to see the future of America determined, and I want to make sure that Virginians know they can trust this election process.
All right, so what he's talking about, 100% paper ballots, only counting machines, not voting machines, which won't be connected to the internet. We do not drop mailboxes or mail ballots. They're not going to do that. Ballot drop boxes themselves are in secure locations and monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Chain of custody has greatly improved and acknowledged and certified back to himself, the governor. Why we're not doing that here in the state of Florida, which is supposed to be the most red state in the country right now, I don't know.
This is absolutely, it's embarrassing that people are still fighting over this. And they don't want that here in Florida, because the most important thing isn't having a red state or a blue state. The most important thing in Florida is having a state of control. And that's the danger when it comes to elections, is that there shouldn't be some guy whose whim decides who's going to be your next leader, right? The RPOF did this with Erica Booth in the last special election. They tried to force her down the throats of the citizens. They regurgitated Erica Booth out, and now she's running again. And are they going to do what's going to be happening? What's the difference? Are they going to continue now? What happened? The Democrat's going to win, but they'd rather have the Democrat than to have a real Republican. Why? Because this county has a dynamic that is completely, it will fall apart under honest leadership, because so many things will be discovered that they'll have to so much interference. Nobody wants the headache. So that's a big problem. And that's what we're seeing here. Absolutely. Voting machines are wrong. Counting machines are great. 100% paper ballots, no drop off. Of early voting period does not need to be 1 week of early voting is all you need. And here's some reasons why ours is ridiculous in Osceola County, because it's like 100 days. Half of the year we're voting. It should be 1 week, Monday through Friday, come and vote. Monday through Saturday, come and vote. And then if you can't make it, then vote on election day on Tuesday. But certainly, I don't think that we need 3 weeks, 2 weeks of voting. Just makes no sense.
You know what happens when you have that much time? You become complacent. You say, oh, you know what? I can do it tomorrow. No, I can't make it today. I'll do it tomorrow. No, I still got till Saturday. I can do it Saturday. Oops, can't do it Saturday. What do I? And then eventually you miss it and you can't do it. You become complacent.
It also increases the window for all kinds of problems, whether it's voter fraud, whether it's people looking to do harm. It increases the window of bad things, bad possibilities, and that's not what you're supposed to do. If you're our supervisor of elections, an absolute idiot. Let's just say
Yeah.
it. She's an idiot, right? She violates state statute. She blames everybody else for the mistakes that happen. She raised a monster. This is somebody she doesn't get it right in any way, shape, or form, right?
No.
So this is somebody who just can't handle the job and shouldn't be there. Now there's questions about our elections left and right. It's craziness, which we're going to talk about. By the way, we're going to have an election day wrap up on Unsanctioned Florida tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Unsanctioned Florida is going to be a huge blockbuster show with an election wrap up. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. But I mean, when you have these kind of election problems, you're just creating strife. And I don't know, maybe that's the goal by these people. At some point, we need to bring it down to earth and just make it so that it's 100% transparent and easy. It's built for the Americans. It's not built for the bureaucracies.
I still, John, want an election day national holiday. I think that President Trump has to make that happen.
That seems like a no-brainer, right? That would be a great idea. That would be a great idea.
Yeah. All right, John. So meet August Glishleg, the elections clerk in Fraser, Michigan. He suggests that Republicans are Nazis and ridiculed those who were offended by the Satanic Olympic ceremony, which mocked Christians. Here he is. Meet him.
Years.
Get out of here.
Yeah. I worked for congressman, worked for senator.
Nice.
Been doing elections all my life. It's these guys go door to door and they take people's ballots. They pull them and they give them their ballots over. Only fraud happens in small ethnic communities where someone is more assimilated, they can run the show. They can intimidate and say, like, if you don't vote for me, your cousin has nowhere to live next year when he comes in. I'll shut it down.
Closed societies, basically.
Yep.
But how do they do it? Like,
easy. They go around the neighborhood with the AB applications, and they have people sign the application. Then they put candidates to drop them all off at City Hall. Then they know when they go out, they go back to the person's house and say, "Give me the sign the envelope, give me the ballot." They were harvested. That's what they did.
And so you think that's what happened here?
Oh, it is what happened here. It's absolutely what happened. It happened with the Ukrainians. It happened with Polacks. It happened with Bosnians.
Yeah.
It's ethnic communities. Whoever gets here can run the show on me.
Well, Project Veritas at it again.
Yeah. I think we've all known that this is happening, right? Like people, now there's a big difference because we see this happening in our own families. Like somebody's like, hey, make sure you vote. Who are you going to vote for? Vote for this person, vote for this person, vote for this. Okay, whatever. So that's dialoguing about the vote. But when you're holding something over somebody's head and they have no choice but to surrender their vote to you, that's criminal. And we should not be tolerating that. But not only are we tolerating it, we're watching it happen, and it's because they don't want to question. Now, I don't think that's a lot of, let's say, like the Secretary of State of Florida, he doesn't want voter fraud to be happening, right? The problem is that if you come and you attack that voter fraud, then you also have to go attack that voter fraud, right? And if you're going to address this problem, then you're going to have to look at that problem and admit that that problem exists. And what you don't want is for people to be asking questions when everything's not clean. And you have different counties with different dynamics. And some dynamics are bad or ugly Republican dynamics. And some dynamics are real ugly Democrat dynamics. So on the local stage, on the local state level, we got problems that nobody wants to deal with because we can't keep control. Once we realize there's a problem, everybody's going to be talking about it. We can't control it. And then we lose power, right? And nobody wants that. So at least the power brokers don't want that, right?
Absolutely.
So, but this is a problem. I mean, we never would Americans believe that their elections are as corrupt as they are in Afghanistan or in Cuba or what we just saw in Venezuela.
The funny thing is you have election supervisors across the state of Florida. You have media people all telling you that our elections are safe. There's no issues. You can trust the process. But we have so many examples to the contrary.
Including a letter from Georgia recently. Do you have that letter? You do have that letter?
I think I have it somewhere. I don't have it here.
I'm going to resend it to you so that we can put it up in a minute. But that letter is basically a letter from the Secretary of State of Georgia admitting the problems that they were saying that Trump was wrong about. And now they're acknowledging in a letter. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, I'm going to send it to you right now. So that we can put it up here, but it's beyond what you would expect in our country for this to be tolerable. You never expect these people to be, like, oh, well, we're going to take this because we don't really want to address the problem. And that's just, it's not what Americans do. And that's exactly why we're having so many issues, because Americans aren't stepping up. The leaders, we don't have George Washington, right? Now we have like Georgia confused they them DC. And that's that's not somebody that we can depend on. What we need is our typical George Washington to come and take control and be in charge and do the right thing. And he's in the right thing. Let's say he's doing the right thing in the Army. And then we need the Thomas Jefferson to be out there doing great things, and somebody that you can trust doing this section of the government, and so on and so forth. But their underlings, they're just not up to par. We don't have men of honor. And the reason that we don't have men of honor is because we didn't make this country a country that was intended to be ridden or controlled by the corrupt. It was intended to be controlled by biblical responsible men and women who believed in doing the right thing.
Yeah. Let me see if I got this, John.
Yeah.
I know you just sent it to me.
So I'm going to read it while you're looking for it, so you can put it up. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. It says, it's a letter. This is by the State of Georgia State Election Board. As a courtesy, you are hereby informed that a matter regarding which you provided information to the State Election Board is on the agenda for the board's meeting to be held on May 7th, et cetera, et cetera. Only the respondent is the party who is accused of a violation is entitled to be heard on the allegations. The respondent is the party accused, but no other party or parties will be afforded the opportunity to offer input to the board to consider in determining whether a violation was committed and the disposition of the matter. The matter involves allegations that were investigated by experienced investigators. During the investigation, the investigators considered facts initially supplied when the matter was opened and any other relevant information obtained and developed regarding these allegations. I'm going to skip down. The board has separated complaints that will be heard at the meeting into two groups, those in which investigators found a violation and those in which they did not. This matter is in violation found category. Here the Georgia State Board. So this is the first of many of these letters that we're going to see going out where they are acknowledging that there are violations. Now, what happened to the Secretary of State who was at the DNC the other night, right?
Yeah.
Or that was the Lieutenant Governor. This is they're all part of the same group. So the election board here is now acknowledging, oh, there are some problems. And then you have the Lieutenant Governor over there at the DNC calling Trump a monster. So is this about Trump, or is this about them not wanting to get uncapped by all of the voter allegations that are true in Georgia?
Yeah,
we're gonna find out. And if we don't find out between now and November, we'll find out after November when Trump becomes president, because I don't think that Trump forgets a lot of things. And so there's got to be a negotiation. Maybe he just doesn't come and chop his head off, but he is going to come and there's going to be a negotiation at some point, and these guys are going to have to pay for their bad deeds.
Yeah, absolutely, John. So you know that the DNC has been going on since, I think it started Monday, right? The Democrat National Convention. They do have a mobile abortion booth outside from Planned Parenthood. It's confirmed they have killed 25 babies outside the DNC so far. Here's a video.
It's like, why just not create the right seats? All they had to do was increase the zone where the journalists could work and set the seats back a little further, and then everyone would have been fine.
I don't even know what to say, John.
It's disgusting. It really is. It's just the worst of humanity gathering at this DNC I'm sure that there's some good people there, but the fact is they are being their goodness is drowned out by the evil of the policies of the people at the top of the DNC. And there's nothing more ugly, more evil than what is going on here. They're celebrating the murder of babies they're offering you to offer up your child, to have your child. I mean, how is it not absolutely evil to put on a political event, right? Where they are tearing the child from the womb of the mother as a sacrificial act to their, I don't know, pagan gods or whatever it is that they believe now, right? Their dark gods. It is absolutely horrendous. And, in the future, if the Democrat Party still exists in the future, which it may not anymore, right? After the next 4 years, it may not. They will be scorned as such an ugly. They will be viewed as like the Nazis. They will be viewed as like the KKK, right? Which was the founding organization of the DNC. So they're going to be seen as the ugliest part of our country. And thank God for those men who are good enough to say, you know what, we're going to speak up against that. We're not going to tolerate that and pretend that it's normal. We're not going to allow the DNC to rip off, just like they like to tear the baby out of the womb of the mother. They also like to genitally mutilate kids and chemically castrate them. And none of those things. Hopefully, men will continue to rise up, men and women, and protect children in this country.
Absolutely, John. And the thing is, the DNC is in Chicago, Illinois. Illinois does not have any laws on the books against a woman getting an abortion if she needs to get an abortion. But this chart that's on the screen right here, it shows, and this was a survey, it was done in 2004, so it was about 20 years ago. It was very similar to a same survey that was done back in 1987. And the reasons I bet you if they did a survey today, the reasons would stay the same. Women's abortion decisions rarely stem from rape or incest cases. 74% say having a baby would dramatically change my life, and that's why they have the abortion. 73% can't afford a baby right now. 48%, don't want to be a single mother or having relationship problems. It's anything but. 1% is a victim of rape, and 0.5% a result of incest. So that's the problem.
This is terrifying. I mean, first of all, we all knew this. This is not new. Yeah. This is not new. Abortion is not about the 1.5% that have a reasonable conflict when it comes to having a child, right? Not that the financial burden of a child doesn't exist, and not that relationship problems don't make it worse, and not all these things. All these things are true, but the fact is that if you want to be a society, we're against slavery, right? We want to tolerate everybody for whatever choices they make in life, right? You want to cut your genitals off, no problem. Okay, you want to have cut the genitals off or the breasts off of your young daughter. Okay, go ahead. Right? No problem. No judging. But God forbid, now we're talking about the murder of a child because of irresponsibility, right? Whether you don't want to carry the irresponsibility forward or whether you weren't responsible when you were having sex. In most cases, again, we're talking about the 73%. We're not talking about some of these other situations. So we have to become at some point a post-abortion world, a post-abortion nation. Right? So that we can heal, because this is purely demonic, and I'm not, listen, I want to make this clear. I'm not attacking any woman that has had an abortion, any man who has participated in their significant other, their partner, their mother of their child being abortion. I'm not attacking anyone for those decisions because I can understand that burden and whatever. But what I'm saying is that, let's say that even if you've gone through the process, then you need to be able to acknowledge that we don't want to be in a world where we're having abortions as a cosmetic resolution to childbirth, right? As a purely elective process, like having lip filler or Botox, because that's what the DNC is doing. That's what the Democratic Party is promoting. They're promoting get your Botox, get your lips filled, and then kill your baby here as in the third seat. And that's not the world we want to live in. That's an ugly world. What's the difference? Why not have slavery?
No.
Why not have slavery? What's the difference? Slavery is not uglier than murder, in my mind, right? Not from a physical standpoint, maybe from an intellectual standpoint it might be, right? But I mean, from a moral standpoint, it's not. So from a moral standpoint, if we're going to talk about slavery as if it's bad, and you want to pretend that abortion is good, then there will never be truth attached to it.
You know, it's just sad that you see they're using this as a prop outside the DNC with a mobile abortion van. I mean, it's just really disgusting, John.
No, I don't know, man. It's not. Is it really a prop, or is it actual sacrificing the life, spilling blood for their cause?
I mean, that is one of their platforms this election cycle. You know,
I mean, it's not a prop; it's an actual.
They're running on abortion. I mean,
yeah. I mean, there's a spiritual aspect. If you believe, like I do, that this is a spiritual war that our country is having right now, then this makes perfect sense, right? This makes sense. This is evidence of that, of the not just it's of the deterioration of our culture, of our American culture.
You know, I think that, just in my mind, and this is just me personally, I think that in those cases where you have rape, incest, things like that, absolutely, I think a woman should have a right to choose. I don't think that you should have abortion on demand. I don't think that you should have, I made a mistake, I'm pregnant now, oops, I don't want to have a baby, so I'm going to get an abortion. It's just wrong.
Well,
It shouldn't be that easy.
Yeah, look at the schools, right? Like we tell the kids, oh, no phones, right? We have a no tolerance policy. If you're gonna bring your phone, then we take your phone, or you get suspended, or you do this, right? You want kids, you teach responsibility. But when you're an adult, you no longer have responsibility for something as serious as having a child. If abortion were illegal, just for example, I'm not making a proponent of this. I'm a big proponent of each state making its own decisions, right? Although I'm against abortion in all cases. So but let's say that we had an abortion ban and you were forced to carry a child to childbirth, right? Then all of a sudden people would be very careful. If you knew that you were going to get pregnant, you would be very careful. You know, and let me tell you something. This is something that I've talked about, and there are statistics that show this. The children in high school students, okay, which are young adults about to crest the adulthood, they don't want to have just random sex with people like we imagine in our minds. They're actually yearning for spiritual and profound relationships. That's what the surveys say. The surveys are saying that they want to have meaningful relationships because they've seen what that does not look like in our generation, Generation X. So they know that the importance of a deep-seated, profound relationship is necessary to be happy in life, and that's where they want to raise their children. Thank God that's a byproduct of the mistakes that our generations made previously. And now they're trying to provide them, oh, no, we have to encourage. So what do? They throw TikTok at them. They throw everything, their phones at them and whatever, brainwashing these kids.
Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. So it's, I mean, and this is just, they've got to desensitize human nature. And desensitizing someone works because they use it in combat. And we'll move on after this, but there was a book by a Lieutenant Colonel Grossman who talked about war, right? And the book says that it talks about historical battles, and soldiers used to shoot over the heads of their enemies when they used to line up, in front of each other, because they were so morally profoundly prevented from being able to kill another man. So even though they're a soldier in combat, they're lining up, they're facing the danger, and they're supposed to discharge their weapon at the enemy, they would actually fire over each other's heads, and then they would come into like a face-to-face combat, right? Because of that, because they wouldn't die. And most of the actual deaths that occur on the battlefield happen because of artillery. The point of this is that 100 years later, 200 years later, modern times, so before it used to be like 8%, under 10% of men that were able to kill another man. Now you're looking at percentages that are above 25%. The United States Army, just the United States Army is the example that I'm using, has trained men to kill with a high level of efficiency. It could be the cook, it could be the so-and-so, it could be the journalist, but you are prepared to do your job as a soldier on that battlefield and to do it well. And so we're doing that with our kids. With abortion, that's what the DNC is doing to our kids. That's what TikTok is doing to our kids. That's what Hollywood is doing to our kids. They're desensitizing them to the value of life so that we will be worse people, because that's what happens. That's the result. That's the byproduct, right? And worse people will allow leaders like the ones that we have without ever uprising and without ever taking our government back.
Absolutely. All right, John. So before we go across the nation, we have this important message from President Trump.
The test of a man is how much he will bear for a cause which he knows to be right. How long will he stand in the depths of despair? How much will he suffer and fight? There are many to serve when the victory is near, and few are the hurts to be borne. But it calls for a leader of courage to cheer the men in a battle forlorn. It is the way you hold out against odds that are great that proves what your courage is worth. It is the way that you stand to the bruises of fate that shows up your stature and girth. And victory is nothing but proof of your skill, veneered with a glory that's thin. Unless it is a proof of unfaltering will, and unless you have suffered to win.
All right, John. So when we go across the nation tonight, we're going to keep it at the DNC. I saw this on X. I think it's great. It's from Vigilant Fox on X. Follow him if you get the chance. It is the 10 most embarrassing things that have happened at the DNC thus far.
Follow us on X as well, by the way. Let's do that quick play. It's at John Unsanctioned, JON Unsanctioned. What's yours, Tom?
Mine is at Citizen Tom Lord, and you can follow me. I don't post too much, but when I do, it's something important or meaningful, so please. Anyway, these are the 10 most embarrassing things that have happened so far. Now, he's done it for every day of the convention. I took the 10 best that I found out of each one because there's so many. There's so many.
This is a cringe convention.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing is absolutely horrendous.
So we're going to start with number 10. All right. Number 10 is Jen Psaki inadvertently drops a joke on herself to a half-empty room. Trump and Vance speak to a tiny, tiny portion of the public, and that's a striking thing. Now look at the room, John, in this video.
The diversity of the faces, the youth in the room, the diversity of people's backgrounds is so striking and different from a couple of weeks ago. And what's also different is the overall message. I mean, Biden and Harris are speaking to the totality of the country, the multicultural, multi-ethnic country we live in, that's diverse with a big umbrella and everybody who's a part of it. And Trump and Vance speak to a tiny, tiny portion of the public. And that's a striking thing. You look at the room, but I think also in the messages.
You're crazy. She's absolutely crazy. We've never seen First of all, the difference between Trump and Kamala Harris is that Trump doesn't have to pay to fill up a room.
No.
They are paying actors. They're paying, just like they pay for these protesters. Why are the protesters not as large today as they were in other days? Because they're hiring the same protesters to go fill these seats that nobody wants to be in now for the DNC. All right. And that's just, believe me, they probably have to pay double the amount because these kids would rather throw rocks than have to listen to those boring speeches. So Trump doesn't pay. Trump has to limit the number of people that come. Anybody who's been to a Trump event knows there's people lined out the door. People can't get in. All right. People can't get in. You can't get in. It's standing room only. And people's hearts are pumping. People are engaged. You go to this snooze fest and you're like, is that a man or a woman? Don't use those words here. Those words aren't allowed. You're not allowed to use words like that. Right. So, I mean, like, it's ridiculous. Nobody wants to be. I mean, you just saw the cuck from earlier in the show, who was offering his wife to some other man for sexual pleasure. I mean, that should have been his number 10 spot right there. Okay, let's go on. Let's see the next one.
All right, Yeah. All right, number 9. A Republican exposes the truth about Biden's exit on CNN. Biden is known in his career as being one of the best eulogy givers at funerals, and now they're making him come and give his own career eulogy. Watch this, John.
Oh my gosh, that's harsh.
This is moment, Scott.
Yeah, Biden is known in his career as being one of the best eulogy givers at funerals, and now they're making him come and give his own career.
He has
eulogy.
files of every eulogy.
Yeah,
he's ever
and now they're making him give his own eulogy
Oh,
at this
look at Van's
convention. I mean,
You have to give one it's best that you get to give your own.
yeah, I guess. I am anxious to
look,
see how they
Axl
handle it.
Rod
Sticky
can't
Wick, I
handle
mean, he
it
was
either.
bullied out of this race after 52 years of service to the Democratic Party, and it wasn't all about his age. He was unpopular. He was going to lose. It was Afghanistan. It was inflation. It was immigration. And now, and he had to be dragged out by the fingernails. I'm sorry. This is not, so he's not here in a happy moment, okay? I know that this yarn that's being spun in this hall that he was popular and self.
Okay, was that okay, I can't see it very well because I'm looking at the
All right. It's David Axelrod that's sitting there.
No. I mean the on his lapel. Does he have a Ukraine flag? The Republican that's speaking.
I can't see it that well right now.
Yeah, so you and I are looking at the same thing. So the people at home get to see a much better picture than we do. But I don't know if that's a yellow ribbon or if it's a.
It looks like a yellow
Ukraine
ribbon.
flag. Yeah. Okay. That would have been important, right? Because it would have told you what kind of Republican this is.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I can guarantee you, Van Jones and Axelrod are like, "What the hell is this guy doing here? Who invited this guy to the party?" Right?
This is Scott Jennings. He's a former special assistant to George W. Bush. So
Okay,
that might give you an idea what kind of Republican he is.
Yeah, so he's a neocon. He's probably a neocon. I doubt he's a Trump supporter, or they would not have been invited. But here he is. He's whipping truth right now.
Yeah.
Not here in a happy moment, okay? I know that this yarn that's being spun in this hall that he was popular and selfless and handing on. No. It is the opposite, and everybody knows it, and yet the Democrats are engaging in this theater of looking into cameras and saying it. So it's not true.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was harsh. These get better?
Yeah, Van Jones was laughing,
Yeah.
and David Axelrod was sitting there with this angry look on his face.
Wow.
Oh, all right. So moving on to number 8. So number 8, John, Joe Biden battles the teleprompter and loses. And this isn't the first time. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we've seen this many times.
Yeah. So here he is. He's battling the teleprompter.
Turning Roe v. Wade, as you heard earlier tonight.
All right, what happened?
The United States Supreme Court majority wrote the following.
All right.
Quote.
Hold on.
Women
I'm gonna pull it back.
are not without electrical.
I guess it's going to be bad already. I can tell this is going to be bad.
All right, here we go.
Turning Roe v. Wade, as you heard earlier tonight, the United States Supreme Court majority wrote the following. Quote. Women are not without electoral political power. No kidding. MAGA Republicans found out the power of women in 2022.
Oh my
And Donald Trump is going to find out the power of women in 2024.
He has become Mr. Burns. I mean, he is a complete cartoon character now.
He's unbearable. He's unbearable. He's absolutely unbearable. Okay, number 8.
No, we're down to number 7, right?
Number 7.
Number 7, all right. Whoopsie, Michigan governor accidentally emasculates Tim Walz on MSNBC.
Wait, how can he be any more emasculated, this guy? This guy reminds me, they couldn't have found a better second gentleman. This guy should be like what is it that they don't like real men in the Democratic Party? Let's see it.
I love Tim Walz. So Tim, my daughters were saying to me, he's like a male version of you, Mom. And I thought that was so funny.
Minus the red lip. I can see it.
But he's rocking a purple tie in honor of the Vikings and Prince. So like he's always on.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
man.
a male version of Gretchen Whitmer.
That's pathetic. That is
Pretty
pathetic.
accurate.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate.
Let's see. Number 6.
Number 6.
She's
Jill
a witch.
Biden. Jill Biden says she watched Sleepy Joe dig deep into his soul and decide to no longer seek re-election. And yeah, that's totally how it went down, right?
Oh,
Here she is.
Weeks ago, when I saw him dig deep into his soul and decide to no longer seek re-election and endorse Kamala Harris. And
yeah,
God,
all right.
What a S show this is.
I saw somebody had posted on X, and I probably should have replaced that video with this one, but they had imposed Alice Cooper's face on her face. So it looked like
she's more attractive.
Yeah, so she looked like Alice Cooper, like saying the thing. Yeah. So number 5, John. Number 5, AOC receives a standing ovation for saying a whole lot of nothing. And yeah,
they probably have shock buttons on the seat to get everybody out of their seats at that place. Let's see it.
Here she is.
When we knock on our neighbor's door, organize our communities, and elect Kamala Harris to the presidency on November 5th, we will send a loud message that the people of this nation will not go back. We choose a new path and open the door to a new day, one that is for the people and by the people. Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless. God bless you all.
Oh, God. Talk about manufacturing excitement.
No, yeah, we will not go back. We will not go back to the greatest 4 years that we've had. You know, why would we want to go back to that?
But I mean, you don't have to manufacture excitement like that. Like, everybody fake. Yeah, stand. You know, it reminds me of Lord Farquaad during the wedding, like where it says applause or whatever. He's got the factors. I mean, this is like Shrek. It is. There's got fewer. Shrek is more realistic and has fewer fantasy creatures than this DNC convention.
Hey, and they didn't even bring the celebrities out until day 3. You know, they brought the Hollywood musicians and stuff. But anyway.
Well, you know, that's funny that you mentioned that because Joe Biden was on the first night in the middle of the night. Yeah. Come on. Talk about embarrassing. They were saying that, we want to make sure we honor the president by putting him at 11 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, man.
They wanted him in and out. They wanted
him in and out. You're right. Yeah. They wanted him in and out.
They don't want to be stained anymore by him. So
I cannot wait for. We need to play Kamala Harris's speech live, and then have like bingo cards about how many ridiculous things she says.
Yeah.
All right. So number 3 or number 4? Where are we at?
Number 4. We're at number 4. So number 4, Democrat tries starting a "We love Joe" chant, and it's as pathetic as you would expect.
We love you, Joe.
Here it is.
Thank you, Joe, and God bless you. We love you. We love Joe. We love Joe. We love Joe.
Oh, my.
We love Joe.
Yeah, did you see her face?
Yeah, she doesn't want to do it.
We love Joe. God bless you, and thank you very much.
Oh, my God.
Incredible. Wow. Man, that's like feeding kids medicine, dude. That was.
Yeah. That whole room, John, that whole room does not want anything to do with that man anymore. They are totally on board with Kamala. They don't want Joe Biden anymore. They're done with him. So having to deal with him and have to go along with that chant, you can see it on that woman's face. They just don't want to do it.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the reasons I get so mad at the Republican Party, because what the hell are we fighting for? As Republicans, what are we fighting? We're fighting amongst each other for a conservative versus a fake conservative, right? Like this is fight. There's a spectrum between, we just want power. We just want to be rich, right? And then the people are like, we want to be patriots. We're having that battle. The Democrats are having a battle between, it's not binary like that. It's like a star configuration. There's people all over the place. It's completely asymmetrical. You have people that want to fight for Palestine, right? Again, they want to be anti-Semitic party. You have people that are fighting for Antifa and saying that they want to be some kind of rebellious spirit, like a 1980s Nicaraguan gang. You have the people that are like, oh, we all we want to do is genitally mutilate kids and chemically castrate children. That's our fight. And I mean, it just makes no sense, the things that they're fighting over. Now, Joe Biden hasn't captured those people because they think he's just an angry old white man like everybody else, right? And I don't think that he's an angry old white guy. He's somebody who lost his mental faculties. Okay, so no wonder he's angry. I'd be frustrated too if I didn't know where my shoe was. I didn't know where, I mean, I misplaced my wallet. This guy misplaces his body. So it's a wholly different thing. You can't blame him. If you took somebody out of the nursing home at a Alzheimer's facilities and you put them in as president, you don't think that they're going to be pretty frustrated with their day, right? It's totally unfair. But the thing is, this guy, his mentor was a racist. So come on, he's not going to be able to make all those people happy. But neither's Kamala. She's not smart enough to make them all happy. So we're on number 2, right?
No, we're on number 3.
Oh, boy. I can't imagine what number 1 is.
Joe Biden says with a straight face, we finally beat Big Pharma after mandating government-paid COVID shots for millions of Americans. Here he is.
Beginning to fight for 50 years to give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug prices. We finally beat Big Pharma.
God, cringe.
Unreal.
Horrendous.
All right. So number 2, John. Number 2 is some random state senator says that Trump could even weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political opponents.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. Isn't that what's going on for them? I mean, I don't know.
Beginning to fight for 50 years.
Oh, no, wait a minute. That's the wrong one. It's this one.
Donald Trump would be able to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political opponents. He could even turn the FBI into his own personal police force.
Did she turn into a lizard right in the middle of her speech?
That's how it works in America. That's how it works in dictatorships.
Like, I don't know who that is, but she kept sticking her tongue out and opening her mouth really wide, like.
Yeah, I get it. I've had dry lips. I'm talking too much. I get dry lips, but my goodness. She's on the DNC. You can do mouthwash to keep a wet mouth or something. Or geez, I thought she was trying to get a fly that was flying around there.
Yeah.
And forget the speech. God. That was horrendous. So what do we got next?
All right. So number one, John.
Drum roll.
Jake Tapper crushes Joe Biden on live TV, and he doesn't even realize it. Here he is, John.
We should note that one of the dynamics that is going on, and this is going to be a night, obviously, where there is an homage to President Biden. We just heard Vice President Harris talk about thanking him and how important he has been to this country and to this party. But one of the issues is that for the last year, as people geared up for the 2024 race, the candidates were, in the minds of Democrats, one candidate, the Republican, who would come out and offend them, and the other candidate, their candidate, the Democrat, Joe Biden, who would come out and they would sit on the edge of their seat and hope that he didn't say something meandering or off message or addled. And that fear about their nominee speaking is gone. Now they have somebody who
are you kidding?
Does project joy, and they're not particularly subtle about how they want the message of this convention to be joy, but she does project joy with her smile and her tone and her mien, and she's not somebody that in a situation like this is going to cause Democrats that tension that we used to feel in the media and all Americans when the president would come out and speak.
Yeah. All right. I just wanted to point something out real quick, John.
Yeah.
Now, I know this is Dana Bash. I don't remember the other woman's name, but look at their expressions and their face. They
Yeah.
look almost exactly the same, like they were
Yeah.
trained in the same school. I guess at
Yeah.
CNN. I don't know, but
I don't know, at Lizard
man.
School. At Lizard School, that's where
Yeah,
they learn.
that's where it is, I guess. Who knows? Maybe you slash off the skin and you see the reptilian. But, yeah, that's crazy. So I'm sure there's going to be more coming from this convention, more cringy clips. We'll see if we have some for the next Unsanctioned America. I'm sure we will.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much material coming out of there; it's horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, the Republican National Convention was all like positive and like you're gonna go get them and like patriotic and it was a prep route. It was that's what that was, and this one is all like manufactured excitement. Like it was all cringe. It was all like old people trying to be cool. It was literally their whole thing, right? And Harris's and Walls's campaign is all about let's try to look cool and try to look like normal people. Let's try to look right. So you see like them in a 7-Eleven and Walls passing Doritos as if she asked for them. And that whole exchange is just like abnormal. It's like an alien trying to act like he's normal with another alien. And they don't know how to, it's like there's nothing real about it. There's no authentic. When Trump goes and buys a McDonald's hamburger, 100% authentic. That dude loves McDonald's, right? Just like so many Americans, maybe not anymore, but like if his age, his era, right? They love McDonald's was like a treat, right? And that guy loves a McDonald's burger. He loves the fries, right? He likes fast food. That's authentic. You know who else was like that? Bill Clinton was very authentic. Okay, I met Bill Clinton. I interviewed him, and that was my feeling. Like this guy is so. Man, he's funny. He was very funny. He made me laugh multiple times just being himself and whatever. He's very charming, very nice. I was like, wow, this guy's like super cool.
Yeah.
And I was a young person, a young journalist. Well, Trump is like that, except Trump is more intense, right? He's not like the fuzzy like Bill Clinton, right? Fuzzy Southern guy. He's a New Yorker, intense New Yorker. But nonetheless, he's also funny, right? But he's very authentic. These people there's nothing authentic about them. They would never win an election as themselves. Kamala Harris, like Trump said, is intolerable. Every man can imagine being married to her and thinking that's misery, effing misery, right? And that's her authentic self. But you can't win an election like that. And Tim Walz is a coward that everybody in his unit hated him, right? That nobody likes. He's not a man. He's not a real man. The guy's a big wimp who steals valor, right, from real soldiers. Nobody's going to like that. That's not authentic. That doesn't win. You're never going to get people to go. And also women aren't going to want to vote for him either for that reason, right? Because a woman wants a man to be a man, I would imagine, right? And a man wants another man. Be a man. Don't be like the guy that we all hate. And so I don't know how they're going to win this election because everybody can see how fake they are. And their authentic selves are just as bad as their fake selves.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, John. So that's the show.
All right. Awesome. Well, listen, it's been a long show, but we thank you very much. We are, as always, it was a tough election season, so we missed a couple of weeks while we were fighting that battle. We appreciate you watching, and we hope that you join us tomorrow night. And tomorrow night, we're going to have an big election show. And that will be a lot of fun talking about the elections. I'll talk about my races and we'll talk about all the races throughout Osceola. We'll talk about some races throughout the state of Florida and what we're seeing, right, on both sides from end to end. So Thank you very much. God bless you. Join us tomorrow. Follow us on Twitter. It's I think that the show is going to get better and better now from this point on. We're going to really focus on a whole bunch of awesome developments in the show. It's going to be a primary focus right now. So follow me at John Unsanctioned on everything, whether it's Facebook, whatever. Everything's going to be at John Unsanctioned, JON Unsanctioned. And you can follow Tom at Citizen Tom Lord. And on behalf of myself, School Board Member John Arguello, my great friend, Citizen Tom Lord, thank you very much. God bless you all.